Well, I didn't intend to be doing a third series right now, but how can I pass up the Clone Wars? So here we go. They're back. The Bad Batch is the name of the episode. The interesting thing about this season of Clone Wars is that we really kind of know what happens because when the first 6 seasons of the Clone Wars cartoon was done and everybody thought it was over, they released their material that they had for this season that they thought they were never going to get to use. So like they released the storyboards and a whole bunch of voice clips and like the unfinished models and stuff. So the real question is going to be how much have they changed about what they wanted to do with it since that unfinished product to the finished product. So we are definitely going to see the Siege of Mandalore in this, which is great because everybody's really interested in Mandalorians right now, thanks to the Mandalorian series, which happens in the far future from this. But I expect we may get some answers as to how Mandalore was, how it was in Rebels, at least. That would be good. And of course, at the end of this, we have we'll probably have to lead into the Ahsoka book where she's on the run without her lightsabers because the if you haven't read the Ahsoka book, this isn't that much of a spoiler because it comes out and tells you it's like not a mystery in the plot, but basically at the end of the action on Mandalore, Ahsoka kind of sees the way things are going with the Jedi and fakes both her death and Rex's death. So she buries her lightsabers at his grave as if like, oh, he obeyed orders and killed her. So we know that's not going to happen because we know from Rebels that Rex and gang kind of take their chips out. So we'll see what's going on here. The announcer's back. This guy's the best part about the Clone Wars cartoon. Now, and this is weird, right? Because the Clone Wars series originally existed under Lucasfilm, and now it exists under Disney's, making so the Clone Wars cartoon series has been established as canon in new canon. However, it was also canon in old canon, what is now called Legends. So there was this idea in Legends that clones kind of interfered with the way that Jedi senses work. And that's how the Emperor was able to hide his intentions. It's why the Jedi couldn't really see the future during the Clone Wars. And it's why the Jedi couldn't really effectively read the minds of the clones. So, like, Rex just lied to Anakin, right? I'm pretty sure. Normally a Jedi would catch that, but that's this old canon idea coming back in a new canon that's like, oh, the fact that there are so many minds around that are basically the same brain kind of messes with Jedi senses. So we can thank actually the granddaddy, the original Thrawn trilogy for that idea. So I'm glad to see it here in the show, or at least kind of implying it through what's going on in the show. Also, what I love about the Clone Wars is like between it and Rebels, it completely changed how I felt about the clones, right? The scene in episode 3 where Order 66 happens is tragic, and it was tragic the first time I saw it, but it's so much more tragic once you've seen Clone Wars and Rebels because you realize like the clones were just doing what they were bred and programmed to do. Like even the ones who killed the Jedi didn't actually want to do it. They just didn't have a choice. It's really, when you first see episode 3 before the Clone Wars came out, you view it as like the ultimate betrayal, but really it's the ultimate tragedy for the clones as well. Like it makes you hurt.
Call themselves the Bad Batch.
There we go. Desirable mutations. That's good looking armor. Wow. I like that. Ooh. What? I love this.
The Queen is a delicate delicacy.
There's a nerd clone. He doesn't.
They call him Tech. Yeah, he can fill your head with useless.
So the others all still kind of look like Django, but this guy doesn't look like Django at all. The guy with the crosshair eye back there also has very different facial structure. Whereas at least this guy with the mullet still kind of looks like the rest of the clones.
Info for hours.
Because they want to know what intel the droids actually have. The pilots always get hit.
He's gonna get the gunship out of there.
He's gonna get the gunship out of there. Poor pilots. Of course it explodes. This mission was very poorly planned.
The way our position.
It's basically like a altered phalanx. What? That's pretty cool. Very good teamwork. Which is good. Usually in this show they have a tendency for like the weirder clones to like be loners who don't work well with others, but at least this crew works well with each other. Yeah, a lot of people are going to want that vibroblade gauntlet. I kind of like the tactical droids.
Hang in there, Cody.
Cody's out of action. Ooh.
All right.
That's
Let's cut the chatter and finish.
if that happened in any real world military, you'd be court-martialed so fast. The problem with droids is you never know when they're communicating with droids who are farther away. They're not really regs, though. That's the reason why they're commanders.
The sun the back.
30 droids is no problem for this amount of clones. Too late. Ah, here we go. Are you counting how many droids have gone down? The tactical droids trying to surrender? Why?
Work on these computers. Delicate operation.
You know, I've been looking at Wrecker this whole time, and now I've figured out he looks like a space marine, like from Warhammer. His gun looks like a bolter, and his armor is like bulky, like theirs are, including the helmet, how it goes straight down instead of like having a narrowing. He's a Star Wars space marine.
Using this sequence.
Ooh, it's not a program though. It's Echo himself. I'm betting.
Live signal.
Yeah. Now we're gonna have to go get Echo, and then we'll do the Siege of Mandalore after that. There's only 12 episodes, so
Can't be.
they've either got him hooked up or something. And then they'll just go out the back door, get the transport. The clones never use cover as much as you'd think they should.
Find out who. CT.
Oh, and he just puts the helmet on. Droids can't even shoot you when they're filling a hallway, a straight hallway that you're in. Okay. So there's going to be very hard reception waiting for them there.
Alive.
You were right. But Cody's not there for you to tell him that. Okay. Dave Filoni, you've done it. So the background on the Clone Wars for me is that back when it was coming out, I watched probably the first season and I wasn't into it. And then later when it was on Netflix, I tried to watch the first 2 seasons and I still wasn't into it. And then everybody was telling me, "Hey, you need to watch this. It's good." And I still didn't listen. I watched Rebels. And that was finally what made me want to go back and watch the Clone Wars, because I was like, dude, this stuff is good, and everyone's telling me once Clone Wars gets into like a logical order, it's better. and the later seasons are better. So I had to go back and do that. But now I will just trust what they're doing because I think it's going to be good. Like, I don't think this is going to have anything that really blows me out of the water like some of the episodes of Rebels did, but they might fool me in the last couple of episodes at least. So we shall see how it goes.